Catherine from Knit the Stars, and welcome to another video in my Knitting Unravelled series. Today I'll be demonstrating how to cast off. Casting off, also called binding off, is one of the easiest parts of knitting. This is how you finish off your project when you get to the end so the stitches don't unravel. Just like casting on, there are a few different ways to cast off. We're going to learn the most common one in this video. You'll begin casting off at the beginning of a new row. Start by setting up both needles as though you were going to knit another row and knit 2 stitches normally. With your left needle, pick up the first stitch on your right needle. Pass it over the second stitch and off the tip of your needle, so only 1 stitch remains on your right needle. Knit another stitch normally, then pass that first stitch on your right needle over and off again as you did before. We're going to repeat this process all the way across the row. If you need to, feel free to slow down this video so you can cast off along with me at your own speed. You are left with only 2 stitches, both on your right needle. Pass the first stitch over the second and off the needle, so only 1 stitch remains. Use a pair of scissors to cut the working yarn, leaving a tail of about 6 inches. Finally, slip the last stitch off of your right needle. Pull the tail through it and pull tight to stop it from unraveling. Congratulations, you've finished casting off. Most knitters will weave in the cast on and bind off tails of their finished pieces so you won't see them sticking out. This is done using a darning needle, a larger-eyed version of a sewing needle that you can buy at most craft stores. To weave in the ends, you'll thread the cast on and bind off tail through several stitches in the back of your work, then cut the tail so it disappears into the stitches. There's no one right way to weave in ends, but some methods will be less visible than others, and you should discover what works best for you. It's also important to know how to join a new skein of yarn in case you ever run out of yarn while you're knitting. When this happens, it may seem obvious for you to knot the new strand to the old one and just continue knitting. This will work, but you'll be able to see the knot in your finished piece, which isn't ideal. Instead, knit the last stitch in your old skein so you have a tail of at least 6 inches. Knit the next stitch with the new skein without knotting the strands together by looping the new skein over your right needle, leaving a tail of a similar length. You can now continue knitting across the row. You may notice that this method will leave you with a small gap in your knitting. After a few more rows, you can come back and weave in both of the ends. This will help to close the hole and make the change in skeins invisible in your finished piece. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you'll follow along with the rest of my Knitting Unravelled series.